The grand hall of the Galactic Council was filled with glittering light as alien delegates gathered from every corner of the galaxy. Some floated in strange liquid chambers, others sat on tall silver thrones, their eyes glowing like stars. The hall was alive with sound, a mix of laughter, mockery, and sharp whispers. At the center stood a tall projection of Earth's envoy, a human dressed in a simple dark suit. He had no crown, no glowing armor, no strange alien jewels. His calm face only made the aliens laugh harder. "Look at them," a scaled alien hissed, its long tail tapping the floor. "They call that a fleet. They dare to stand before us with metal scraps." Another alien, tall and covered in gold feathers, let out a screeching laugh. "Humans are children with toys. Their warships are nothing but floating coffins." The laughter spread across the chamber like fire. Dozens of alien leaders joined in, pounding tables, shaking heads, mocking Earth's name. They saw humans as weak, late to space, unworthy of the stars, but not everyone laughed. In the shadows, a quiet voice spoke. A small alien with grey skin and deep black eyes whispered to the one beside him, "Do you not feel it? The humans are too calm. No fear, no shame. They know something." The feathered alien turned sharply, glaring at him. "Do not spread fear. Humanity is nothing." Yet the human envoy remained silent through the storm of laughter. His hands folded neatly in front of him, his gaze steady. He waited, and when the voices grew louder, he finally spoke. "You may laugh now," the envoy said softly. His voice was not loud, but it carried through the chamber like a blade. The laughter slowed. But laughter cannot stop what is coming. The aliens sneered, some shouted, "Threats! Empty words!" But the human only gave a thin smile before the projection faded. The chamber grew quiet for a moment, the silence heavy. Later that night, in the private chambers of the council, the debate raged on. "They are bluffing," one alien barked, its jaws snapping. "Their fleet is small, their weapons old." Another shook his head, his eyes glowing. "No, I saw their ships, not like ours. Not made for beauty, they looked. Dangerous, like predators in the dark." The others laughed again, but the laughter was not as strong as before. Doubt had crept in, hidden like a shadow. Meanwhile, far away, on the dark edge of human space, Earth's fleet waited. The ships were not painted with colors, not decorated with banners like the alien armadas. They were black, armored, built for survival. Engines hummed with power. Cannons lined their hulls like teeth of a beast. Inside one of the command ships, Captain Elias watched the stars. His crew worked quietly, their faces hard with focus. "Do you think they believe us weak?" his second officer asked. Elias gave a short smile. "They do. That is their mistake." Another officer leaned forward, whispering, "The council mocks us. They think we are a joke." Elias's eyes hardened. "Let them laugh. Every shot they fire will teach them silence." Across the galaxy, alien spies tried to uncover the truth. They followed human signals, tracked shipyards, but found little. Human space was guarded like a fortress. Every time they approached, their probes disappeared, swallowed by shadows. One spy returned with a broken message, his voice shaking. "Their ships do not shine. They do not sing with lights like ours. They roar." I heard them in the dark, the guns, the engines. "They roar like thunder." His transmission cut off, leaving only static back in the council hall. Unease began to spread. One leader slammed the table. "Enough! We will show these humans their place. We will send a fleet, crush them before they grow." But the small grey alien spoke again, his voice calm. "You do not understand. Humans are not like us. They come from a world that tried to kill them every day. Their storms, their beasts, their wars. They survived, they adapted, and now they build ships with the same spirit, ships that do not shine. But bite." The others silenced him with anger, yet his words lingered in the air like smoke. When news came that the first alien patrol had vanished near human space, the council dismissed it. "Accidents happen," they said. But then the second fleet vanished, and the third, only static, returned, echoes of screams. The laughter that once filled the chamber was gone. The council sat in silence, eyes wide, whispers sharp. The feathered alien who once mocked humanity leaned forward. voice trembling. "What have they built?" In the shadows of space, the human fleet moved silently, waiting, their guns loaded, their engines ready. The time of laughter was over. The roar of human guns was about to begin. "Signal the fleet," Captain Elias ordered. His voice was steady, calm. "Let them hear us." The stars outside glowed brighter as engines lit. Cannons unlocked, the humans, once mocked, were ready to show the galaxy that Earth's silence was never weakness. It was preparation, and when the roar came, it would echo across the stars forever. The galaxy trembled with whispers as the first alien patrol disappeared without a trace. At first, the Council dismissed it, claiming human space was dangerous and accidents were common. But when the second fleet vanished, and then the third, fear began to settle inside the grand halls. Leaders who once laughed at Earth now sat in silence, their jeweled robes heavy on their shoulders. Their eyes darted across the chamber as if shadows were closing in. "They cannot be this strong," one alien muttered. His skin covered in silver scales that shimmered with unease. "Perhaps pirates, perhaps rogue machines." "No," another said sharply. A voice filled with doubt. "This is human work. They wait in silence. And then they strike. I tell you, they strike like wolves in the dark." The Council erupted into argument, some demanding immediate war, others begging for caution. In the middle of it all, a messenger drone floated into the chamber. Its glassy eyes flickered as it played the last recording from the third fleet. The room filled with static, then a voice, trembling and broken. They came from the dark. No lights, no signals, only shadows. And then the roar, the guns. The voice was cut off by a deafening thunder, and the image shattered into static. The silence that followed was more terrifying than the sound itself. Even the boldest leaders shifted uncomfortably. The laughter from days before seemed like a memory that no one dared mention now. Far from the Council, the human fleet prepared for what was coming. Inside the command ship Resolute, Captain Elias stood before a wall of screens. Each showed different ships, frigates, destroyers, carriers, all dark armored, and bristling with weapons. "They will come," his second officer whispered. "They cannot ignore us now," Elias nodded, his eyes never leaving the stars. "And when they come, we will show them why humans never kneel." A young pilot nearby clenched her fists. "They laughed at us, sir. They thought our fleet was a joke." Elias's voice grew harder. "Then let us remind them, jokes do not fire railguns. Jokes do not tear fleets apart. The time of laughter is over." Back in the Council, panic deepened. Delegates began blaming one another. "You said they were weak," shouted the feathered alien who had once laughed the loudest. His voice cracked now. "You told us their fleet was nothing. And now our ships are gone." The small grey alien who had warned them earlier sat quietly. His black eyes glowed faintly as he whispered, "I told you, but you would not listen. Humans are not weak, they are death-worlders. Every breath they take is born from struggle. Every tool they build is born from war." "Then what do you suggest?" snapped another delegate. "That we bow to them?" The grey alien's voice was calm, almost cold. "No, but do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not mistake patience for fear. Humans are predators who learn to wear masks." The Council could not agree. Half demanded war, the other half wanted peace. But before a decision could be reached, another message arrived. This time it was not static, it was live. The projection flickered, and there he was, the same human envoy they had mocked before. His calm face filled the chamber behind him. Shadows of massive ships loomed like mountains in space. "You sent fleets to test us," the envoy said, his voice steady. "They did not return. You wonder why. It is simple. You underestimated us." The Council chamber buzzed with anger and fear. Some shouted, "You threaten us." Others whispered in silence, staring at the dark shapes behind him. The envoy leaned forward, his eyes sharp. "We warned you. We asked for respect, not war, but you chose to mock us. You chose to attack. If you continue, the roar of our guns will not stop at your patrols. It will reach your homeworlds." The projection vanished, leaving only silence. The delegates sat frozen, their eyes wide. Their voices lost. Meanwhile, In the human fleet, preparations were complete. Soldiers checked weapons, pilots sealed helmets. Engineers ran final checks. Captain Elias looked at his crew, his voice calm but firm. This is not conquest, this is survival. They will come with their shining armadas. They will come with their pride. And we will meet them with fire, his crew shouted in unison, for Earth. Engines roared to life, shaking the hulls of steel giants. In the blackness of space, the human fleet began to move, silent and deadly, like hunters ready to strike. Back in the council, fear turned into rage. One leader slammed his fist. If humans wish for war, then war they will have. But even as they shouted, doubt hung heavy. The memory of the recordings, the envoy's warning, and the silence of lost fleets lingered in every mind. The galaxy was no longer laughing. It was waiting for the sound that had already begun to echo in the shadows, human guns roaring across the stars. The warning lights pulsed like a slow heartbeat across the bridge of the Resolute, and Captain Elias stood with his hands behind his back, calm eyes on the starfield ahead. Sensors showed a ripple in the dark, not light, not heat, but the faint tremor of mass moving through space without announcing itself. "They are masking their approach," his second officer whispered, leaning over a console. No transponders, no beacons, just shadows. Elias gave a small nod. "Good, they are learning, but they are still late." A young pilot, Zara, swallowed hard and kept her gaze on her screen. "Do we strike first, sir?" Elias's answer was soft. "We wait. Hunters do not roar at the trees. They move when the prey steps into the clearing." The crew fell into a quiet rhythm, metal boots on deck, hands hovering above controls, breaths measured. Above them, the main display drew a silent map, and the shapes appeared like cold ghosts. One fleet, then two, then three. Alien armadas sliding into formation with the patience of an ancient tide. In the Galactic Council's war room, anger had become iron resolve. The feathered commander who once laughed now moved tokens on a glowing table. Eyes sharp and voice clipped. "We push on 3 fronts. Our cruisers form a wall and our carriers stay back. They think themselves predators. We will drown them." Across from him the small grey alien watched. Hands folded. "Remember what I said. Do not chase noise. Look for silence," the feathered one sneered. "We will not be frightened by stories." A messenger burst in with a breathless bow. "The fleets are in position. They are ready." The grey alien spoke softly. "If you must fight, fight with your eyes open." On the edge of human space, the trap opened its eyes. Not with light, but with cold math. Oscar arrays that felt gravity ripples rather than heat. Drone curtains that listened for electromagnetic whispers rather than bright engines. Decoy hulls that floated like dead rocks until they received their silent orders. "Targets in range, sir," Zara said. Voice steadier now. "All batteries green. Rail coils charged," the tactical officer added. "Carriers request permission to release strike wings." Elias kept his voice even. "Negative for now. We test their patience first." He tapped the armrest. And the ship's AI acknowledged with a quiet tone. The human fleet shifted almost invisibly, dark hulls rolling a fraction, cannons adjusting by degrees. The alien vanguard advanced, shields blooming like colored glass, their captains confident behind layers of energy skin and proud armor. "Human ships detected, course stable. They are waiting," an alien sensor chief reported. The feathered commander's eyes glittered. "Cowards! Open the barrage!" Lines of light speared the void. A storm of plasma and guided fire, but most of it met the first gift of Earth. A wall of seeded chaff that was not metal, not powder, but a cloud of smart sand that turned bright spears into dull rain. "Their fire is failing!" the alien gun crews shouted. The confidence swelling again. Then the second human gift arrived. A wave that did not shine, a whisper that did not glow. Guided slugs that rode invisible rails and tore along silent paths. The first railgun volley hit like a cold hammer, and the Vanguard's forward shields flickered, buckled and broke. One cruiser sagged as if pulled by an invisible hand and split along a seam, its proud crest shattering into drifting shards. On Resolute, a cheer threatened to rise. But Elias lifted one hand, and it died into focus. Second volley staggered. Adjust 12 microradians, aim for shield nodes. Make them spend energy faster than they can make it. Railcoil sang again, not with music but with force. Slugs crossed distances that should have been safe and discovered weak bones under shining skin. "They are punching through like needles," an alien captain gasped. His displays veined with red. The feathered commander leaned over the table, feathers bristling. "Close the gap. Force them into knife range, where our beams will cut. Launch interceptors. Flood space with drones." Fighters poured out like glittering rain, and for a moment the void became a swarm. Zara's hands moved in smooth arcs. "Strike wings. Release on my mark." "Mark." Hangar doors split and human craft flowed like knives in sheaths of shadow. No bright paint, no vanity, only angular bodies built to survive and return. They cut through the swarm by turning off, by refusing the dance of light, by gliding cold while alien fighters searched for heat that was not there. "They cannot lock us," a human pilot laughed. Relief in the sound. "They trained for fireworks. We gave them smoke," another voice cut in, tight with urgency. "Bogey on my 6th switching decoy. Now." Two false signatures shed like skins, and the pursuer overshot into a rail burst that punched a hole through its heart. Back in the council, the small grey alien watched the status feed bend toward panic. "They are not trying to destroy you fast," he murmured. "They are teaching you what fear feels like." The feathered commander slammed a hand on the table. "Silence yourself," but his voice betrayed strain. Systems flickered, ships bled air, and an ugly thought climbed into the room. The thought that pride could not plug holes. On Resolute, a soft chime pricked Elias's attention. "Captain, we have a backdoor ping on our logistics channel," the Coems officer said, frowning. "Encrypted like ours, but off cadence by a fraction." Elias's eyes chilled. "Find it," for all their preparation. He had expected one thing: spies in code. A voice broke in. "Flat and wrong by a hair. This is Supply 3. Requesting priority path for resupply runners." Elias spoke without turning his head. "Supply 3, what is your childhood dockmaster's name?" A pause. The wrong voice said, "Dockmaster Harrow." Elias's jaw tightened. "Our dockmaster is Hara. You die now." A pulse raced through the network. Human firewalls slammed shut. But not before a single packet crossed. Not to Resolute, but to a decoy node in the drone curtain. A hidden alien program bloomed and tried to flip targeting tags. For 40 heartbeats the sky tilted. Human drones saw friendly as hostile and hostile as friendly. "We have cross-tagging," the tactical officer barked. "Confirm integrity." Elias did not raise his voice. Protocol dustfall. The AI obeyed. Her deadman routine cleaved the swarm's logic in two and killed every drone that doubted its own eyes. The loss hurt like biting down on steel, but the damage contained the infection. "Rebuild on clean seeds," Elias ordered. "Now we know they can whisper." Zara exhaled. "That was too close." Elias nodded once. "Close is how lessons arrive." The alien commander saw the stutter and mistook it for weakness. "Press them, cut their wings," he shouted. His carriers stepped forward, big and beautiful, and sure of their armor. That was when the third human gift fell. A geometry trick that was not magic, but timing. Cheap decoy pods raised soft bubbles that stroked the carrier's shield harmonics out of rhythm. The shields stretched thin like old glass, and the main guns hammered at the exact wrong moment for the aliens. At the exact right moment for Earth, two carriers cracked like bells, their flight decks spilling fire into the black. The roar of human guns did not sound in space, but every survivor swore later that they heard it in their bones. In the middle of chaos, a last transmission cut through to the council. Shaky and raw, they do not chase glory. They cut arteries, they tell the dark what to swallow. "We are not fighting a young race. We are fighting a patient storm." The war room sagged under that weight. The grey alien closed his eyes. "Now you understand." The feathered commander stared at the table and saw not tokens but names that would not return. "What do they want?" he whispered, his voice thin. The grey one opened his eyes. to be left alone or to be respected, whichever arrives first. On Resolute, reports streamed in, enemy formations broken, retreat beads lighting up like falling embers. Zara's hands trembled as adrenaline unwound. "Sir, they are pulling back." Elias let himself breathe, just enough for his chest to remember it was human. "Hold the line, do not chase. Render aid to any vessel broadcasting surrender. Mark the wrecks for later recovery." The second officer glanced up. Puzzled, "Recovery, sir." Elias's gaze stayed on the wounded sky. "We pick up their escape pods, too. Today we teach strength. Tomorrow we teach mercy." A soft murmur moved through the bridge. Pride without cruelty, steel without hunger. The kind of victory that does not rot a soul. The battle ended not with a final explosion, but with a decision. The humans did not pursue the broken. They did not carve their symbols into enemy hulls. They stood silent in the lane they had claimed and waited for the next choice the galaxy would make. Aboard a damaged alien cruiser, a young officer stared at the human ships and whispered, "They could have killed us all." His captain, bleeding and shaken, answered with a rasp, "They chose not to." Somewhere far away, the council listened to new silence. A silence not born from laughter, but from thought. And for the first time since the war began, the galaxy's most powerful voices wondered if respect might cost less than pride. Captain Elias turned from the stars and met his crew's eyes. "Send the message," he said. "We will not be your enemy if you do not insist on making us one." And as the words crossed the quiet dark, even the wounded ships seemed to steady. As if the void itself had heard and approved, the trap had sprung and then released. The lesson had been given, and for this night at least. The roar of human guns faded into a promise stronger than fear. The wreckage of the alien carriers still floated in the dark when the human fleet pulled back into silent formation. Debris drifted like frozen confetti, broken metal flashing faintly in the distant light of stars. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Resolute with a heavy calm in his eyes. His crew moved quietly, running scans, recovering pods, sealing the wounds left by the fight. "They will return," Elias said at last, his voice low but certain. "Pride is a wound deeper than steel." His second officer nodded. "And they will come with more ships, stronger ones. They won't underestimate us again." Zara, still at her station, asked the question everyone carried in silence. "Can we survive another storm like that?" Elias turned his gaze on her, steady and sharp. "Survival is not given, it is taken, and humans have been taking survival since the beginning of time." Across the galaxy, the council chamber was no longer filled with laughter. It was heavy with rage and fear. The feathered commander slammed his claws on the table. "They humiliated us, our fleets shattered, our carriers destroyed, and yet they left survivors to crawl back with tales of mercy. That mercy is a weapon," another growled. "They want the galaxy to see them as noble, as strong but restrained. It makes others doubt us." The small grey alien rose slowly, his black eyes calm as a storm before breaking. "You sent fleets to crush them and failed. You mocked them and they answered with silence. You attack with fire and they reply with restraint. Can you not see? You are building their legend." The chamber erupted in shouts, some calling for total war, others whispering fearfully of peace. But behind closed doors, the council chose escalation. They ordered their greatest armada assembled, warships that had not flown in centuries, dreadnoughts built in the old days of empire, engines roaring once more with hunger. Whispers of this movement reached human ears through intercepted signals. Elias listened to the reports without expression. "So they finally bring their full weight," his officer said. "Hundreds of ships all in one strike." Elias leaned forward, his tone quiet but hard as steel. "Then we will show them what weight means when carried by a Death Worlder's hands." Preparations began, not in secret this time, but in purpose. Railguns were reloaded, missile bays filled, drones rebuilt, crews drilled in silence. The human fleet did not decorate, did not boast, it only sharpened. The day came when the void itself seemed to darken. The alien armada appeared like a storm, Row after row of shining ships stretching farther than the eye could count, their lights burning like 1,000 suns. Inside the Resolute, tension coiled like a wire. "Contacts confirmed," Zara said, her voice tight but controlled. 200 ships at least, dreadnoughts leading. More on the edge. The bridge held its breath as the alien fleet began to spread into formation. A voice crackled over the channel, not human, but alien. Bold and loud, "Humans, surrender now. Your fleet will be erased, your people will bow. The Council will not tolerate your defiance." Elias pressed the comms, his reply cold and even. "You can try." The alien commander gave the order, and the void exploded. Beams of plasma, torrents of missiles, storms of drones filled the black. The human fleet vanished behind shadows, not running, but weaving, their hulls disappearing into the dark as decoy pods spread confusion. "They're trying to blind us," one alien officer cried. "Track them, find them!" But every signal, every reading turned to chaos. And then came the roar. Human railguns spoke again, slugs tearing through shields with pinpoint precision. Dreadnought armor crumpled under the silent thunder. Entire lines of alien ships shook and broke. On Resolute, the crew worked like a single machine, target node down, adjusting fire. "Rail 3 ready," Zara called. "Fire," Elias ordered. Another alien ship split apart, but the alien armada was vast. For every ship destroyed, 3 more pressed forward. Beams seared into human shields. Explosions rocked smaller frigates. One human destroyer took a hit and vanished in fire. The crew of Resolute felt the shock in their bones. "Hold steady," Elias said, though his jaw was clenched. "We bleed, but we do not break." The battle raged for hours. The galaxy watching from afar, signals spreading across systems. Reports of dreadnoughts falling to Terran guns, whispers of human ships refusing to die. Even when torn and burning, they fought on. At last, the alien commander, furious and desperate, ordered a final push. Dreadnoughts breaking formation to strike directly at the Resolute. Their guns flashing with the heat of suns, Captain. "They're aiming for us!" Zara shouted. Elias stood tall, his eyes unblinking. "Then let them come," he gave the order. "All batteries, full fire. Show them the price of pride." The final volley shook the void. Railguns roared in endless rhythm. Missiles screamed through the black. The Resolute shuddered under fire, but held. One dreadnought cracked, another burned. The rest turned away. Too broken to continue, silence returned at last, broken only by the hiss of damaged systems. Elias looked at his crew, faces pale but alive. "We are still here," he said, his voice soft but carrying. "And that is our victory far away." In the council chambers, silence ruled too. The delegates sat in disbelief, fleets shattered, pride broken. The small grey alien finally spoke. "They are not to be laughed at. They are not to be underestimated. Humanity has earned its place among the stars." The others said nothing, for the laughter of the council was gone forever. The smoke of battle still drifted across the stars when the human fleet regrouped. Wreckage spun silently, fires burned without air, and escape pods blinked faintly like dying candles. Captain Elias stood in the center of the Resolute's bridge, his voice steady but low. "Count our dead," his second officer answered softly. 73 souls, sir, lost in the destroyers and the frigates." Silence fell heavy. The crew bowed their heads. Elias spoke again. "They did not fall for nothing. The galaxy will remember what humans can endure." Across the galaxy, the council trembled with anger and fear. Fleets of proud ships had been broken by Earth's dark armada. Dreadnoughts had cracked under human guns, and the laughter that once filled the chamber was long gone. The feathered commander hissed at his peers. "If we let this continue, the humans will rise beyond control. They must be crushed completely." But others shook their heads. One with golden eyes muttered, "We already threw our greatest fleet at them, and they survived. Do you wish to send the galaxy into ruin?" The small grey alien rose, his calm voice cutting through the chaos. "You all believed that laughter was strength. Now you see what it cost you. They fight with the patience of hunters. They strike with the memory of a death world. If you push them again, you will not survive the answer." The chamber buzzed with whispers. Some fearful, others defiant. The council split deeper than ever before. Back on Resolute, reports came in from scouts. Zara's voice was sharp as she read the signals. "Captain, we're intercepting communications. The council is divided. Some want peace, others want revenge." Elias nodded slowly. "Division is a weapon too if they cannot agree. They cannot act, yet in the darkness a new threat stirred. Far from both Earth and the council, a third power watched. One that had stayed silent until now. Fragments of human victories reached them. Whispers of railguns splitting dreadnoughts. Stories of black ships roaring without fear. Their leaders sat in hidden chambers. If humanity can humble the council, then humanity is a danger to us as well, one voice said. Another replied coldly. Then perhaps the time has come to reveal our hand, unaware of this new danger. The human fleet worked to repair and recover. Drones salvaged broken metal. Engineers patched hulls with speed and precision. Inside the ship, soldiers cleaned their weapons, ready for the next storm. Zara approached Elias quietly, her voice low. "Sir, why didn't we destroy them completely? We had them broken. We could have ended it." Elias looked at her with tired but firm eyes. "Because strength without restraint is just savagery. We wanted them to learn respect, not fear alone." A comms officer suddenly raised his head. "Incoming transmission, sir. Not council. Unknown origin." The bridge fell into silence. Elias gave a nod. "Put it through!" The screen flickered to life, and a strange face appeared. Not council, not any known race. Its skin pale like stone, eyes glowing faintly. Voice calm but cold. "Humans, we have watched your war with the council. You have proven strong, too strong, and strength unchecked is a threat. You are not the only hunters in this galaxy." The crew exchanged shocked looks. Zara whispered, "Who are they?" The figure continued, "We are the Vehlari, the ones who watched when your council laughed. We did not laugh, we calculated, and now we see you as a danger to balance. Stand down your fleets or face us next." The transmission cut without waiting for reply. Silence lingered on the bridge, the weight of the words sinking deep. Elias's second officer said with a grim face, "Another enemy, sir, stronger maybe, more patient, waiting in the shadows." Elias clenched his fists slowly. "Then it begins again. We show them what humanity is made of, one by one, until the galaxy understands." Back in the council chamber, the threat was also heard. The Vehlari had revealed themselves to all. Fear spread quickly. The feathered commander shouted, "You see, the humans bring chaos. Their war wakes monsters we wished forgotten." But the grey alien shook his head slowly. "And no, the Vehlari were always there, waiting. They reveal themselves now because they fear humanity, not because of chaos. Fear is proof of respect." As the council divided further, the galaxy itself shifted. Three powers now stared at one another across the void. Earth's silent fleet, the broken but vengeful council, and the newly revealed Vehlari on the Resolute. Elias looked at the map of stars, where new enemies glowed like embers. They thought laughter could stop us, then fire could break us. Now another comes from the dark. But we are still here. His voice grew harder. "We will not bend. We will not break. We will fight until the galaxy knows humanity's roar cannot be silenced." The crew rose to their feet, voices firm. "For Earth!" The bridge echoed with determination, though outside the stars seemed colder, and shadows longer, and somewhere hidden deep. The Vehlari gathered their fleets in silence, their eyes fixed on humanity, their fear already turning into plans of war. The first sign of the Vehlari was not light. It was the way the dark seemed to lean forward, as if the stars were holding their breath. Aboard the Resolute, the crew watched the scopes fill with quiet shapes. No bright shields, no boasting banners, only smooth hulls that drank starlight and gave nothing back. "They are close," Zara whispered. Her voice steady but small. Captain Elias nodded once. "They want us to see them and to fear them. Do not give them what they want." The comms officer lifted a hand. "Incoming transmission." "Sir?" The bridge fell silent as the screen woke. A pale face appeared. The Velari envoy, with stone-colored skin and calm, glowing eyes. "Humans," the envoy said, "stand down your fleet and surrender your heavy guns. Balance must be kept." Elias's answer was even. "Balance is not a chain you place on our necks." The envoy did not blink. "Then we will take what you will not give." The signal cut and the dark moved. They attacked without noise, no warning salvo, no test shot, only a sudden twist in space, and then needles of force punched for the heart of the human line. "Brace!" the tactical officer cried. The first wave hit like cold rain on iron. Rail coils howled in reply. The human fleet answered with slugs and missiles and hard geometry. Decoy pods opened like seeds and grew clouds of confusion. But the Velari were different from the Council's fleets. Their ships slid through the chaff like knives through silk. Their engines left no heat to chase. "They do not fight for glory," Elias said, eyes narrow. "They fight like surgeons." On the far flank, a human frigate took 2 invisible blows and folded in on itself like paper. The bridge felt the loss like a pulled tooth. Across the galaxy, the Council watched the battle from their war room, fear and awe mixing in their throats. The feathered commander spoke through clenched beak. "This is what we feared." The humans woke the old hunters. The small grey alien shook his head. "No, the old hunters woke because humans would not crawl. The difference matters." A messenger rushed in. "Open channel from the Terrans." The room hushed as Captain Elias appeared. Streaks of smoke on the bulkhead behind him. His voice level. "We do not ask for your aid. But if you wish to live in a galaxy where no one kneels, you then do not strike our backs today." The Council erupted in argument, but the grey alien raised his hand. "If the Velari break them, they will break us next. And choose sense over pride." After a hard pause, the feathered commander hissed. "We will not fire on Earth today," a smaller voice added. "We will jam Velari scouts and feed false coordinates." The decision was not friendship. But it was a line. Back at the edge of human space, the Velari pressed harder. Their lead ships formed a silent spear. "They are going to cut us in half," the second officer warned. "They want the Resolute." Elias studied the vector and then did something the crew did not expect. "All ships, open a gap on our axis." "Make it look like a failure." Zara glanced up, surprised. "Sir?" Elias's mouth made a small hard line. "Invite them in, then close. Hunters can be hunted." The line obeyed. A narrow wound of empty space opened. The Velari spear took the bait and rushed for the captain's ship. The bridge lights dimmed as the Resolute poured power into rails and maneuver coils. "Now," Elias said, his voice a blade in velvet. Human destroyers on both sides rolled as one and fired overlapping volleys into the spear's flanks. Slugs cut through the smooth hulls, thin black armor peeled like fruit skin. For the first time, the Velari wavered. The envoy returned to the screen, calm cracked a little by strain. "Impressive but wasteful, you cannot hold. Your numbers are too few." Elias lifted his chin. "We are not counting, we are choosing." The envoy's eyes thinned. "Then choose to die." The line shook as a new Velari pattern unfolded. Space rippled with fields that bent guidance and made missiles forget their names. Drones drifted blind. "They are erasing labels," the tactical officer said, teeth tight. "Protocol dustfall won't save us twice." Zara leaned over her board, fingers moving like she was playing a quiet instrument. "Not the same way," she breathed, "but there is another way." Elias looked at her. "Say it." Zara swallowed and spoke fast. "We blind ourselves where we must, and see with gravity where we can. We kill our own noisy senses, and trust the silent ones. We shoot not at light, but at weight." The room stilled for one beat. Elias nodded. "Do it." Systems dimmed, screens lost color, half the data died. But the remaining lines, the gravity ripples, became sharp like etched glass. The Resolute and her sisters turned their guns by that dark sight and fired. Rail volleys walked along the Velari spear, not by heat, but by mass. Each hit a step on a black ladder, ships buckled. "We have them," the second officer said. "Hope like a match." "Hold steady," Elias warned. "They still have claws," and the claws came. A Velari dreadship exhaled a wave that made hulls sing wrong. Bolts groaned. Ribs popped. "Compensate!" engineers shouted. "Counter-vibrate! Lock the frame!" The ship shuddered and steadied. Then the twist arrived. A burst from the far side of the field. Not human, not Velari. A trio of council cruisers slashed in at an angle and cut the dreadship's side with desperate fire. The feathered commander's voice barked over wideband, fierce and brittle. "Do not waste this, Terrans." Elias did not waste it. "All guns on the dreadship," he ordered. The human rail barrage met the council's beams, old enemies striking the same heart for the length of one breath. The dreadship cracked open, a slow and terrible flower of black metal. The battle lurched, the Velari spear lost its point, and doubt, that old enemy of every empire, slipped through their silent ranks. "Push them!" the second officer urged, but Elias shook his head. "Not yet. They are waiting for our hunger." He watched the pattern and felt it in his bones. The way a storm feels a mountain. "They want a chase. They want our line to stretch," he said. "We hold." For a long minute both sides bled and did not break. Then the Velari envoy returned, calm, sewn back onto his face like a clean mask. "You are clever and stubborn, both are costly. There will be another day." And with that the Velari did something the council never did. They vanished on purpose, whole formations folding back into the deeper dark. Not routed, not destroyed, only gone. Like a knife slid back into a sleeve, silence poured into the bridge. One by one the crew remembered to breathe. Zara sagged into her harness and laughed a small, shaking laugh. "We're alive." Elias let his eyes close for half a heartbeat, then opened them on the work still ahead. "Signal ceasefire to the council ships. Mark all wrecks and pods. Render aid to any who request it." The comms officer hesitated. "Even theirs," Elias nodded. "Especially theirs. We write our legend with what we do after the guns go quiet." The reply from the council was wary but real. "We accept assistance," the feathered commander's voice said, softer than anyone had heard it. The small grey alien spoke on a private channel. "You chose restraint again. Your people will outlive our pride," Elias answered simply. "We choose what keeps children alive." As rescue lights blinked across the field, a final message reached the Resolute. A short burst from a drifting Velari shard. No voice, only a phrase in clean code. "We will test you again." Elias read it and smiled without joy. "Then they will learn again," he said, and turned to his crew. "Send our own message," he added. "To the council, to the free worlds, to anyone who listens. Tell them what we showed here." Zara tilted her head. "And what is that?" "Sir?" Elias looked through the viewports at the quiet wrecks and the slow rescue beacons, at the ships that remained and the souls they had saved. "That the roar of human guns will be heard when it must," he said, "and that when the guns fall silent, our mercy will be louder." The words went out on tight beams and wide, crossing the same dark where war had just walked, and in distant places where fear had been growing. Something gentler grew beside it, respect, not the kind taken by chains, but the kind earned by standing and by sparing. The Resolute turned slowly toward home, to mend and to prepare, and the stars, which had leaned forward at the start, now seemed to lean back, listening, as if they knew the galaxy had changed and would not change back.